Hey guys, I am IzDaisho and I am here bringing you some Hearthstone. And today we're going to do an arena run, and I think I'm going to do Priest. I haven't done Priest in a long time. Look at my quest. Yeah, I do have a Priest one. I wanted to get Warlock because I knew that both of my quests included Warlock, but one of them has Priest, so that should be good enough. The only problem is I'm not that good at doing arena with Priest. I stopped recording my results a while ago, but I really should get back on that. Okay, so right off the bat, we've got a pretty garbage pack. I mean, Secret Keeper is not good in draft pretty much no matter what. It's possible maybe to make like a secret deck with Hunter, or maybe, I don't know. It's possible. I could see that it would be possible, because once you play one secret out, then this guy becomes a 2-3 for 1, and that becomes reasonable. So as long as the secret is a card worth playing anyway, then you're probably fine. But Mana Addict is just not strong enough. As a 2-mana 1-3, it's very underpowered, and its effect only ever works when it's attacking another creature. So sometimes it can trade up, but it's so difficult for that to happen. You have to play a spell, and playing spells is not that common. You're not going to usually have more than 5 or 6 spells in your deck, though I am playing Priest, so there's possibility for some cheap spells. But I don't know. I think I'm probably going to take Lightwell. It's not a very good card, but I don't know. If I pick up some Inner Fires or something like that, then it can become pretty strong and pretty difficult to deal with. So we'll grab a Lightwell here. Alright, so Murloc Raider is pretty terrible, and Delarian Mage is pretty bad. Mind Vision is okay. I think Mind Vision's a lot better in the arena than it is in Constructed. Usually in Constructed, your deck is trying to perform something. It's trying to stall out the early game and make it to the late game, or have a strong early game. And then when you play Mind Vision, you're just taking a card from your opponent's deck. Sure, sometimes your opponent's trying to do the same strategy, but sometimes they're not. And if you're playing a control deck and you get like a Leper Gnome, then you just completely wasted a card and you could have done something positive with it. But in the arena, most of the time, all the decks are trying to do the same thing. They're just trying to control the board and eventually play some bigger cards and start winning the game and stuff like that. But anyway, Delarian Mage, or Murloc Raider, just has a 1-mana 2-1. It's almost never worth playing these guys. And Delarian Mage is okay, but it's very, very weak as a 3-mana 1-4. A 2-mana 1-4 would probably be a little bit weak. So 3-mana 1-4 is just unacceptable. And then spell damage is not that useful. The only spells, I think, are Holy Fire at rare, which deals 5 damage, so making that deal 6 is not that relevant. And Holy Nova, which is very nice, and also Holy Smite, which does 1 damage, which does 2 damage. So Holy Nova and Holy Smite, it's pretty cool to get a Delarian Mage, or like a spell damage +1, but for the most part, Mind Vision, I think, is going to be a little bit more valuable for me. And thankfully, we got a good card with our 2 bad cards. So Goldshire Footman as a 1-2, he just doesn't have enough impact on the game. And I mean, sure, having a taunt every once in a while isn't so bad, so you can protect one of your other creatures from an attack. But for the most part, this guy's not going to kill any other creatures that attack it, so you're just going to be down a full card. And then Wind Fury Harpy is okay, but I think it's just a little bit too small for a 6-mana body. And I mean, I'd much rather have a 6-mana 6/7, which is a lot more difficult to take out than this thing, which has Wind Fury. But Dark Iron Dwarf is a sweet card, so happy to pick him up. Alright, so 6-mana 6/6, that gives a minion +3 health, is a lot bigger than the Wind Fury Harpy, especially because it can come down as sort of like a 6-mana 6/9. Divine Spirit is a card that's pretty interesting. I see people play it a lot, and I think that it's okay, not great. Because if you can drop it on a Taunter, sure, that's nice. Or if you can play it and then Inner Fire it, a creature, then that's nice. Or if you can do it on a Light Spawn, those things are all good. But they're all very, very weak to Silence, which people pick up sometimes. They pick up their Spellbreakers relatively highly. And, I mean, Keeper of the Grove is a high pick. Earthshock is not necessarily a high pick, but a reasonable pick. But something like Temple Enforcer is just going to be so much more consistently better. Like, what if I don't have a Taunter to put this on? Or what if, I don't know. I mean, there's so many situations where it's not good. Or what if they have like an Assassinate or a Sap or a Siphon Soul, or it's just some Hex or Polymorph, something that just completely destroys it. So there's a lot of situations where Divine Spirit's really bad, but Temple Enforcer is pretty consistent. Alright. This is an interesting one. I think I'm just going to take the Bluegill Warrior. Again, I'm really just not a huge fan of Divine Spirit. And in this kind of situation, I think I'd rather go with the Bluegill Warrior, which can just consistently take out a 2-mana 3/2, so it won't let me fall behind and stuff. And I also need some creatures. Dealing 1 damage is okay. The 3-mana 2/2 body is really garbage, but I think that Bluegill Warrior edges out Ironforge Rifleman by a little bit. Not by much. Alright, we'll take another giant creature. Flesh Eagle is fine. Silence is probably not worth a card, because there's almost no way that there's almost no way that you can actually get a full card's worth of value out of this card. Sometimes it'll mitigate situations where you would have lost, but for the most part, it's just not going to be worth it. I'm going to grab a Temple Enforcer. I do need 3 drops, but I think Temple Enforcer is a lot more powerful than Flesh Eating Ghoul, so for now I'm going to ignore my curve and go with the more powerful card. So I got Shadow Form. I think that's one of the best cards that you can pick up in the arena. It's so hard to beat dealing 2 damage every turn to whatever target you want, and if you can do this while you're either ahead on board or about even, then you're just going to be able to make much more favorable trades. You're not going to be able to play their weaker creatures, and you're going to be way ahead. And the other 2 cards are okay, but they're not great. This is an interesting choice. So I have Northshire Cleric, Mind Control, probably not Spiteful Smith. So Mind Control, I definitely don't want 2 of these in my deck, whereas I would play 2 Northshire Clerics. I think I am going to go with the Northshire Cleric. Usually the way I end up running these decks is they're kind of like really, really powerful on draw power, but not so good at like maintaining the early game, and they can close out games, but not that well. So I don't know. I don't really know how that's relevant to this conversation, but basically I want to start getting some of the draw power that I realize with this deck. There's another Mind Control, but we got a really good 2-drop, so I'm going to be happy to pick that up over Mind Control. I mean, when Mind Control was 8 mana, I would not pass a Mind Control, but at 10, it is so much further away, and it's so hard to pick up and be okay with it. Alright, Sunfury Protector it is, Arcane Golem, Secret Keeper, things that I'm not looking to pick up. Giving them extra mana crystals is just not worth it. And while this does get a +1/+1 bonus from a Wolf Rider, for the most part it's really +1/+0. I mean, this thing is dying almost no matter what the turn it comes out. But, I don't know, sometimes you can just get them for damage and then they can't Fire Blast it with Mage or whatever. So I guess it's a little better than a thing. Alright, so generally I hate picking Lightspawn because it's so weak. Like, if you're playing a game where your opponent where your opponent starts curving out, and okay, so if you're playing a game where your opponent starts curving out and you're behind, and then you drop a Lightspawn and they play a Silence on it, then you just can't win that game. You just basically spent an entire turn doing nothing, and sometimes that's really, really, really bad for the deck. And then even at its best as a format of 5/5, it's only a little bit bigger than Chillwind Yeti, and then once you hit it for some damage, you can usually finish it off. So if they've got a weapon, then sure, they'll take 5 to the face, but they can usually kill this card pretty easily. That being said, Silvermoon Guardian is not like an amazing option that I can't pass it, so I think I'm going to take the card with the higher upside in Lightspawn. If I do get some Power Word Shields, that'll be nice, since I don't mind pumping some Power Word Shields into this, basically because it cantrips, so it'll draw itself a card, and then I'm not losing any card advantage if they silence it. So Lightspawn it is. Alright, so Mad Bomber is definitely going to be the pick here. I do need some 3s. I have 1 3 and it's just Shadow Form, so I don't really want to be playing that on turn 3 either. But Raging Worgen is just not that good outside of a Mage or maybe a Warrior deck. Or I guess like a 3 Mad Bomber deck would be nice with Raging Worgen. But either way, I only have really 1 2-drop, maybe 2 that I want to play early. So I definitely need to pick up at least a couple more by the end of this draft. And these 2 1-drops are pretty terrible, so I'll take another Youthful Brewmaster, but that's okay. And this will give me a good chance to pick up a 3. I think it's about as good as Raging Worgen outside of Mage. In Mage, obviously, Raging Worgen is insane because you can just enrage it and hit him for 8 damage or like kill 2 creatures. I don't know. It's a really, really powerful card in Mage. But anyway, Wind Fury Harpy and Oasis Snapdraw are not cards that I'm looking to pick up, so I'll just take this Grizzly Bear. This is an interesting choice. So normally I would take Acidic Swamp Ooze over Venture, but with this deck, I don't have any 5s yet, and I'm a little lacking on top end. I mean, I do have 2 Temple Enforcers. And as for 2s, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 already, so I only need to pick up 2 more, probably. So I think I am going to take and I also do have an Acidic Swamp Ooze, so yeah, I think I'll take a Venture over a Holy Smite, too. Shattered Sun is probably one of the best 3s that I could hope to find. Inner Fire, I mean, in this deck it seems okay. With Temple Enforcer as well as Lightwell and Northshire Cleric, it's got some upside, but for the most part, I think I'd rather just have a powerful creature that's always going to be good. Gurabashi Berserker gains some value in this deck, but yeah, I'm just going to take a 2-mana 2/3 over Raid Leader or Booty Bay Bodyguard. I think these two cards are so bad. I've explained why before, but basically Booty Bay Bodyguard is going to trade, like, if you're playing against Mage, it's going to trade for their 2-drop and a ping, and that's just so bad for you. You really don't want to be that far behind. You want this to be a stabilizing play, but instead they just can trade one creature away for it, and it's never going to trade up. I mean, it's almost never going to trade up. It's always going to trade for like a 4 or 5. The only time it'll trade up is if your opponent's playing a bad 5-drop like Wind Fury Harpy, or a bad 6-drop like Wind Fury Harpy or Lord of the Arena. So yeah, anyway, even though this guy has very, very little chance to actually become bigger, I mean, I have 1 Mind Vision, and I might pick up a Thought Steal or something like that so I could get a weapon, but it's pretty unlikely. I think a 2-mana 2/3 is going to be better. Speaking of Thought Steal, Core Hound and Bluegill Warrior are 2 things that I'm not looking to pick up, but I could pick up. I mean, this is almost a tough choice because Shadow Word Pain is one of the best priest cards, and I mean, if you look at this deck, it's not really very priest-centric. There are some priest cards, but for the most part, it's just like a bunch of common creatures, and the priest cards that are in the deck aren't particularly powerful, and they're not very synergistic. But anyway, I'm going to take a Chillwind Yeti because you don't pass that card. You win so many more games when you don't pass Chillwind Yeti. So I have no spell damage, but just Azure being a 4/4 when it enters the battlefield draw card is insane. I don't really have a hole at the 5-drop spot, but I mean, I only have 1 5-drop right now, so I don't mind taking it. And Sunwalker is a good card. Sometimes it's easier to deal with than other times, but when it's tough to deal with, this is one of the best cards. It's like a 3-for-1 every time. But when it's easy to deal with, it's not quite as good. I don't know. I still think I'm going to take the Azure Drake. Alright, and this is, I think, a pretty good description of how I like to play this deck. Is I don't like to go all in on something like Lightspawn. I'd much rather take a card that's going to give me incremental value, like Power Word Shield, where I basically get to pay 1 mana to cycle it and give a minion +2 health. So that's basically free, the +2 health, and you get to draw a card, which is nice. So I think most people would take Lightspawn here, but I'm going to go with a Power Word Shield, and I'm going to be pretty happy about it. I don't mind taking 1 Shadow Word Death, especially since I don't have a Mind Control. Brewmaster is an okay card, not great. Its ability is often a downside, and I already have 1 Panda. But I do have a fair amount of enter the battlefield effects. Either way, I'm going to take the 1 Shadow Word Death because I don't have anything like that. And now I can either take a Power Word Shield or a Spellbreaker. A second Power Word Shield would be pretty nice. I don't have like anything to super take advantage of it other than this 1 Northshire Cleric. And I don't have very many 4s. I have 3 4-drops, and they're all pretty good. But I think I'm still going to take the Spellbreaker, especially since I don't have much removal in this deck. I'm going to take a Mogushin Warden here. The only deck that I like to play maybe I'll take the Mind. No, I'm going to take a Mogushin Warden. It's not like I'm passing up anything, and this is the only real deck that I'm willing to play Mogushin Warden, because often enough, your opponent's not going to have 7 power on board, and then you can heal this guy up, and sometimes that works out. Oh, no. Alright, Holy Nova and Boulder Fist Ogre. I need the Holy Nova. I don't have any area of effect damage, and that's one of the most important things in the game of Hearthstone, so I need to pick this up, unfortunately, but I would love to see this Ogre in my deck. And even an Earthen Ring, I wouldn't mind. Okay, so Harvest Golem or my 1 Mind Control. I'm not going to get another Mind Control. In terms of 3-drops, I am a little bit lacking. Yeah, I think I'm lacking enough on 3-drops that I'm going to be willing to take this Harvest Golem over the Mind Control. Honestly, since I've been playing the arena, 80% of the mind controls that I've seen have just been like, I'm going to mind control your best guy, and then the other person's like, well, you didn't do anything that turn. All you did was just kill one of my creatures and take it. And I'm just going to press my advantage, and yeah, sure, you might get a card advantage out of it, but you had to spend 10 mana on that, so I'm going to be able to progress my board even more. So I don't really know how good of a card mind control is anymore. Alright, which of these cards do we want? Do we have a Thought Steal yet? We have 1 Thought Steal. We don't want too many do-nothing 3-drops. So right now, I mean, just counting the cards that don't really do much in our deck, Mind Vision doesn't count because it only costs 1 mana, so we can throw that out. But Lightwell, Shadow Word Death until the late game, Shadow Form until the late game, Thought Steal. That's pretty much it. Everything else has a pretty profound effect the turn it comes out. So only 3 or 4 cards is okay. So I think that we can pass on this Razorfen Hunter. It's just whether or not I want another Shadow or Death or a Thought Steal. And I think I'm going to go with the Thought Steal. 2 Shadow or Deaths is sometimes pushing it. And a lot of the times you're just not, they're going to be stuck in your hand. You're not going to be able to do anything with them. Alright. 2 really, really powerful cards here. Stampeding Kodo and Shadow Madness. And they both sort of fit the same slot in that they can give you 2-for-1s and wipe out your opponent's smaller minions. But I think I'm going to go with Shadow Madness because it's a more unique effect. Could mean that my opponents are going to play around it more than just a Kodo, but... Or do I need some... No, I don't need some more beef. I've got some good big creatures in this deck. Not so many, but I think enough, and I'll be happy with the Shadow Madness. No Mission Venture pretty easily here. Thought Steal's okay. Mind Blast is terrible. But this guy's always going to do stuff, and he's going to be useful. And then my last card, I'll take a Wild Pyro. I mean, I've got some random spells in the Power Word Shield and the Mind Vision. And yeah, I could use one more 2-drop, so pretty happy. I stopped picking them up at some point, but I'm pretty happy to pick up one more. Overall, I say that this deck is okay. It's got a pretty nice curve, got some good minions, not enough spells. I have 1 Holy Nova, 1 Shadow Word Death, and 0 Shadow Word Pains, which is a little bit unfortunate. So... I mean, I had to take the Chillwind Yeti over it. Chillwind Yeti's just so good. So yeah, I think that this deck can do okay, but it's not going to do particularly well. Well, it might do particularly well. It really just depends on how well I play and how good my opponents are. And also a little bit on luck and just the matchups and stuff. Because a lot of Hearthstone is predetermined. Even if both players play optimally or like pretty close to optimally, then no matter what pass they take, the game is pretty much decided. And that's, I think, one thing that a lot of people who played Magic are not fans of. But anyway, there's no reason to keep any of these. Mind Vision is not a good card. It's just the only reason I'm playing it is because it's acceptable. It's not like a good turn 1 play. I'd rather just have a random card from my deck than a random card from their hand. So, ship all those back, hopefully pick up a couple of 2s. Because, obviously, I mean, pretty obviously, Priest has no 2-drops. And if Priest uses its hero ability on 2, then it's very disadvantaged because its hero ability doesn't do anything unless your opponent plays like a, I don't know, chargy 1/1 pig or something like that. I don't know, whatever. I'm gonna play a Wild Pyro here. Sometimes it's nice to save these guys, but for the most part, I'm just gonna play him as a 3-mana 3/2. I have to be... Oh my god, thank you. I was going to say I have to be very cautious about playing around something like... if I want to attack into a 1/1 or like a 1/3 or something like that and then play Thought Steal, then that'll kill my creature. But right here, I get to kill this thing for free. So basically he paid 2 mana to draw a card, which is okay, but you don't really want to do that on turn 2 because it still gives me some card advantage. Now I gotta think about whether I want a Thought Steal or Shadow Form here. Thought Steal will give me more options, but I have good plays for the next couple of turns. Shadow Form is not so good right now because I want to be developing my board instead of killing his weak creatures, so I think I'm going to Thought Steal here. Alright, so he has a Stormform. Well, okay, that's just in deck, so it's not... Yeah, Thought Steal... Right, that's what I figured. Okay, so those are 2 cards that are not really too difficult to play around, but, I mean, just the fact that both of these cards essentially do the same thing, they give you 2 surprise damage, is an interesting thing to think about at least. Twilight Drake. That's a pretty good one here. I have this Spellbreaker. I wish I had... Well, actually, it's fine. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and use the Spellbreaker and then trade off the card. So, I mean, I got a little bit of advantage out of it because I got to kill a bigger creature with my smaller creature. But for the most part, we're still even on cards, even though that seemed like a very good play for me. I have a pretty good hand right here. So I don't really see any good way for me to deal with this other than just trading, so I think I'm just going to continue to do that. Gain some more advantage off of drawing an extra card when I play a card. So basically, so far I've played a Thought Steal, which gave me an extra card. And I've played this Azure Drake. I also have this Gnomish Inventor and this Shadow Madness, which are all sources of card advantage. Very, very exciting at a time like this in this game, because I'm already 2 cards up, I have control of the board, and I have some spells in my hand that can actually do stuff. By the way, I did get a weapon, so if I ever do draw that Blood Cell Raider, that'll be awesome. I also have to remember that this has Overload. That's so funny. When you're playing against... Okay, I have to think about this turn for a little bit, but not for that long. When you're playing against a... Okay, when you're playing as a shaman, you think about Overload, because that's like an integral part of your turn. But when you're playing against one, not really something that you think about. Or when you're playing as a priest and you thought steal something, and you're not really thinking about, oh, well, I can only use 6 mana next turn. Fortunately, my hand does pretty well for 6 mana. I have 2 options here. Actually, now that I think about it, I was going to just play Shattered Sun to buff this so he's out of range of that. But if I play Axe and Motion Warden, then this thing can't really do much against a Motion Warden. It's just kind of like an attack into it and trade. And that'll be pretty good for me. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Alternatively, I could have like just played Shadow Form and then shot something, but that's not so good because I don't really need to play Shadow Form yet, and this adds to my board a little bit, and it also gives me card advantage with the weapon. So definitely just raking in that card advantage right now. We just got to make sure that that I remain in control of the board, and then I still have answers in hand. So it'll be nice to draw a Shadow Word Death, so even if he has like a Fire Elemental, then I won't be too far behind. Although, to be honest, not too scared of Fire Elemental here. So he just kills my thing, and then I can just buff this, trade, and then hit it with my face. Alright, so he's just going to Hex my 0/1 right here. Seems like a very poor play. It is the biggest thing on the board, but still doesn't seem worth it, because you don't know. He doesn't know what cards are in my deck. I could play a Boulder Fist Ogre next turn. Probably would have just played one there. So he's gonna play Manatide Totem. Interesting. Interesting indeed. I have a very interesting play. I could Shadow Menace the Manatide Totem, give it +1/+1, and then run it into that, and then run my guy into that, and then play Northshire Cleric and heal. No, I don't have enough mana. Oh, I don't even have enough mana to do this because I only have 6. That's alright. I'm probably just going to go... Yeah, I'm probably just going to go with this. And I think... Let's see, he's got access to Lightning Storm in his deck. That's okay if he Lightning Storms this turn. And we get to save some health, which is not like super relevant, but it's a little bit relevant. And I'm gonna heal this up. I don't want to play the Mad Bomb route because I might kill my own guy. But yeah, next turn hopefully I can just start drawing cards. Although I don't really need to draw cards. I already am up on cards. How does he have more cards drawn? By 2. And I know I used Thought Steal, but... Didn't I draw a card off the Azure Drake? Oh, he drew a card off the Manatide Totem, and I guess he went second. Yeah, I guess that'll do it. I still have this Gnomish Inventor in hand. I mean, I've got a very strong hand. My opponent's down to 6 cards, and I've got 6 in my hand, +7, +8, +8.5. I don't know, probably 8 cards total. Alright, he's getting a Totem first, and Nightblade. So this is why I chose the play that I did last turn. Also, weakening my guy is pretty good because I can heal him up, but... Alright, what's the best way to do this? It could just be... Yeah, I think this will be it. I'm just going to heal up. See what I draw. And then... Yeah, I'm still at 20. That's okay. And now I can still drop a Chillwind Yeti. Pretty big creature on this kind of board. I don't really love the fact that I took so many hits from the weapon, but I'm still okay. I have an entire most of a Motion Warden to defend me. I have good sources of card advantage, And I have a couple of good answers in my hand and ways to dig for my Shadow or Death, though I don't have any mind controls, which would make me feel very safe. I mean, mind control when you're winning is just devastating. When you're losing, not so much, but while you're ahead, it's so difficult. Alright, so if my opponent's using Frost Shock just to slow me down, then I think I'm in good shape. Another Manatite Totem, my god. Alright, he got it, Raid Leader. Okay, so... no, I don't want to use... Alright, I can use my Shattered Sun. Okay, so... yeah, we're just gonna kill both of his guys. I guess I probably should have done that a little bit differently, now that I think about it. Let's heal this guy up first. See what we draw, and then probably play a Gnomish Inventor. Right, so it doesn't really matter since I'm so many cards up ahead. I mean, I'm like 15 cards ahead of my opponent. But ideally what I should have done there was buff the Motion Warden and slam it into the 2/2. That way I wouldn't have to take damage on both my creatures. And I would have a 2 power taunter instead of a 1 power taunter. But, I mean, this is what I was talking about with this deck, is I just have so many more cards than my opponent. It's just... it's tough. I don't see how he's going to be able to win. I might actually have lethal here. So let's see, 4, 5, 8, 9, 11, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Not quite. I think it's time to just Shadow Form now. And like, my opponent really can concede at any time. I guess we'll just eat this. Don't want to leave any cards on the board for him. And I think, no, I'm not going to do that one. I'm just going to do this. The reason why I don't play Holy Nova is because I would draw way too many cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd draw 5 cards, and I already have 6 in hand. So that would not be beneficial. But yeah, I mean, this is what I was talking about. I just generate so much card advantage out of this game that my opponent is so hopelessly behind that even if he's got a handful of stacked cards, he's going to need a lot of stuff to get back. Like, he's going to need a Deathwing power level card. Alright, we'll play one more here, and then we'll be done for this video. I feel like I've been talking for a while. You guys are bored. You're like, IzDaisho, why are you still talking on this video? I want to watch your video, but I don't want to sit here for 2 hours and stuff and things. Alright, another Shaman. Different guy, though, right? The other guy was Tomate Crew. Anyway. Don't want any of those. I'll keep the Power Word Shield. This is very good in the early game. It scales back and it's a little bit worse in the late game, but if I can drop it on a 2-drop, that'll be pretty nice. Unfortunately, no 2-drop in this hand, so I won't be coining one out. Oh god. This is the worst day of my life. Well, this is just... go ahead. This is such a terrible card, and the reasoning is you can't do anything this turn, so most of the time I can just ping this off, and I'm not even going to get into it. I may as well play... no, the Light Well's just going to get eaten by that thing. Unless I Power Word Shield it. I don't want to Power Word Shield it. I'm just going to coin out a Gnomish Inventor next turn, after taking like 15 damage from that thing. It's going to play like double Rock Rider Weapon here. Oh god. This is so bad. Might just like straight up lose this game because of this situation. This whole deal. And drawing these Thought Steals and the Light Well, these are 3 of the cards that I was talking about that don't do anything the turn they come out, which makes them really poor cards. But hopefully he'll just trade here. Oh my god. I'm down to 5 here? God. This is like horrible. Yeah, you can have 7 power. That's alright with me. Alright, so I think what I have to do... Actually, I think I'm just dead. So, yeah, if my opponent has 1 damage here, then I'm actually just dead, and there's nothing that I can do about it. I had literally no options this game. I could have played, I guess I could have played a Lightwell on turn 2 instead of just healing, which might have been better. That was a really silly game. I don't think I've ever seen a Dust Devil be remotely decent. And there it was. But the turn 5 wins against what was a really unlucky draw on my part. If I had drawn any 2-drop, I would have just been able to trade on turn 2, taken 3 damage, on with my life. But yeah, it sucked. I'll play one more. I mean, that's just the randomness that can happen in any game of any sort. Like that's how, whatever. It's not important. Dust Devil is still a terrible card, and I know that there are people who see that game and they're like, "Oh my God, see, Dust Devil was so good there." And just because a card is good in a situation doesn't mean that it's good overall. So in this situation, sure, Dust Devil is the best thing you could have played on turn 1. Most of the time, Dust Devil is going to be one of the worst cards in the game, and it's going to be actively bad for you. But, you know, sometimes it works out, so. Not a great starting hand here, again. It's all 3 games so far. Luckily, in game 1, I did manage to pick up that Wild Pyro turn 2. It could have been really awkward, but again, this is just a very, very awkward starting hand. I'm not getting the 2-drops that I have in my deck. I think I have 6 or 7 of them, and just can't seem to find them in my opening hand. I'm not counting this as one of my 2-drops because it's just not a... It's just a do-nothing card. Man, this card is so bad. I didn't have any other better options, so... I mean, I'd rather play... Actually, Mana Addict would have been fine. He might have had a Lightning Bolt for it, but still... means that I would have survived at least 1 more turn. Alright, no reason to play anything here, no reason to coin out the Lightwell, because then on turn 2 I'm not going to have anything to do, so I may as well just play the Lightwell on 2, and then on 3 I can coin out a 4-drop, and my 4-drops are pretty good right here. I'm going to throw out the Lightwell probably last, just because it's the most fragile, so I want it to be like behind a Taunter, and with a Chillwind Yeti out to back it up, stuff like that, so... Direwolf Alpha, you say? I say Lightwell. And Thoughtsteal is going to be okay in the mid to late game because a lot of the priest cards are very synergistic. So if my opponent's got some synergy cards in there, I can just grab them, copy them, and be happy about it. Oh, that's bad. Ooh, actually, I can just Shadow Word Death that because it's getting pumped by the Direwolf Alpha, which is pretty lucky. There was really no point in him attacking there. Yeah, just gonna Shadow Word Death that and be on with my life. I could have coined into a Mind Vision, but there's no real reason to. I could have Mind Vision first, and then if I had an answer to that, I can't imagine what I could have had that would have been like a Wolf Rider or something like that. Be the only thing that I can think of. There is a Light Spawn. Again, he's trying to decide which one he wants to attack. It's not going to make a difference. Alright, so we didn't draw our silence, so I'm just going to go ahead, drop that guy. He could just kill it, though, now that I think about it. Probably should have just played my own Light Spawn. He would have been able to kill my Lightwell, but that's okay. Alright, so hopefully he picks up the coin or something like that, or my Mind Vision. Actually, that would be the best. And then he Mind Visions again. This is the card that he stole from me. I should probably keep an eye on it, but... yeah. So this is exactly what I was talking about. My opponent's playing a strategy. It is a very risky strategy. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And he's still going to attack. He's just alternating which one. He doesn't really care. He knows that one of them is going to be good. So I'm really looking to pick up my 1-of Spellbreaker here. Alright, let's go for a Mind Vision and hope that he has a Silence in hand. And I get it. He stole the coin from me and then I stole it back. That is amazing. Alright, well, I guess I can hope that he has some guys in deck, because I can't beat that stupid thing. Now that is interesting. Faceless Manipulator, copy that, anyone? Still not going to be that good. It's going to be way too slow, but yeah. Looks like 2 losses already, with a pretty solid deck, because I've been losing to silliness. But, I mean, there's nobody who's saying that Light Spawn... I'm not trying to say that Light Spawn isn't a powerful effect. What I'm saying is... Oh, God. Is that most of the time it's not going to be worth it. Because a lot of the times it's going to be ineffective. Alright, so... opponent can hit us down to 5 here. But then I can start trading off, killing his creatures, healing up. I don't know. There's a possibility that I can come back from this. If my opponent had no cards in hand, I'd feel a lot safer. The main issue here is that not only... Actually, my opponent might make a huge mistake here. That'd be beautiful. But, I mean, like, him playing into Holy Nova more makes me happy, because if he just hits me down low and doesn't really do anything, maybe plays another thing that dies to Holy Nova, and then I can Holy Nova, I might actually be able to still win this one. But if not, this could be pretty bad. If my opponent just Holy Fires me now, I'm going to cry. That is not a Holy Nova. Alright, so what can we do to survive a turn? Trade here, then try and hit some things with Mad Bomber. If I hit any of his things, then I can actually... Yeah? No? Yeah! Alright, and then... I can still drop... a light... No, I can still drop a Chillin' Yeti. It's going to be better. I mean, there's chances aren't going to lose this game anyway, but I think this gives me the best chance to do it. Shadow Form's a really bad card for me right now, since I need to be gaining life every turn. I knew I should have healed. I mean, obviously there was a possibility that he has that, but if I don't heal, then I'm equally dead, because then the next turn I have to Shadow Form to... I can't even kill this guy. Yeah, so I need to either draw something or draw something off of the Gnomish Inventor. So it's not like not healing there was actually a mistake. So 2 losses out of our first 3, and it's pretty fitting, because the games that I played, these guys are very early on. When you get to 7-0, 8-0, you're not going to see anybody with these ridiculous decks that are playing Dust Devil, and I mean, you might have to get a Dust Devil at some point because the other 2 cards are just completely dead, but... Dust Devil and Divine Spirit on Lightspawn and stuff like that, and you see that. I mean, maybe my opponent in this game was good. I don't know. I mean, it's a possibility that he just had to pick up one of those cards, but it was just a few signals that made me think. I mean, he was also playing a Voodoo Doctor. Yeah, he was not a very good player. He played into Holy Nova pretty rough. I don't know. I guess I'm probably just upset because I lost a couple of games, but I really don't think that there was many ways that I could have interacted with my opponent. I think I just got bad draws, and my opponent made ridiculous combos that they got lucky to pick up and have at the right time, and I didn't have the right answers. So anyway, that does happen. I hope you guys still enjoyed the video. I still think this draft is pretty good, and I think that there's a good chance I'll end up with about 7 wins with it. But yeah, we'll see you in the next video. So thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye.